Wagwan, wagwan, wagwan. Yeah, y'all know it's your boy Big Truck. This what we gonna do: conversation and reviews. Shout out to my man. It's complicated. Go to his channel. Show the king some love. He's doing amazing things. Sit back, relax, and let yourself go. Grab your shoulder pads and your helmet. Let's get this work. Hustle and motivate.
God damn, man, got the video.
What's the most famous love story ever told?
Oh my gosh, I guess, what would you say, Romeo and Juliet?
If the most famous love story has a man and a woman dying for each other, why are love stories usually framed?
Don't tell me it's glad I pulled me some bourbon. Let's go.
Where the man sacrifices himself for the woman?
Because he should. All men should sacrifice themselves.
What's the reason behind that? Where does that come from?
Why? Because men are destructive to society and women should reign.
I think it kind of goes back to biblical times where the man should be the head of the household. They should make the sacrifices. The women just follow and be submissive, and the man leads.
I think that's kind of just the way that society's gone, where men are the ones who are supposed to fall on the sword. Man's hands are dirty so that women's can be clean.
Because that's how it should be. I mean, if you're a provider, then you should be willing to lay your life down for your woman.
You know,
I like listening to a lot of his views, and I like how he comes across with questions, because it really makes you think. You know, he'll come at you one way and then hit you with another. But the questions that he asks are so realistic that individuals get caught. You know, it's like he backs you up against the wall and hit you with one thing and then hit you with something else that make you say, But let's continue to roll.
a problem being in the role as a man and like sacrificing for a woman that cares about me. But really the way that society is these days, in America especially, it's like the women want everything from the man and they're not willing to give anything in return. They want chivalry, but they're not willing to reciprocate with, you know, being in their feminine energy.
It goes both ways. When it comes to a relationship, and I've said this time and time again, if a man is doing his part, a woman has to do her part. Oftentimes, we see men doing their parts and women not doing nothing. What does that tell you? In order for things to work, both have to do their part. Both have to meet in the middle. Both have to compromise. Both submit to each other. Everything and all things has to be said and done together.
Energy. It's really tough in this day and age, especially in Las Vegas, trying to date. You know, it's crazy.
Do you believe in 50-50 relationships or traditional roles, and why?
It depends. So me personally, I go for 50-50 because I love to work and I love to provide. But if a traditional, like where the man provides, works, then that's good for you.
I like her attitude, though. I like her attitude with that. Now, I guarantee you that woman would get shamed. Oh, modern women would come for her, calling her all kind of pick-me's and you know, this, that, and the fourth because of what she said. What she said was truthful and realistic. That's teamwork, because she's doing her part. He's doing his part.
How can relationships ever be 50-50 when the man's expected to sacrifice himself for the woman and serve her with chivalry?
That's a great question. I mean, it can be reciprocated.
It can go both ways. Like the man can sacrifice while the woman is also sacrificed. So 50-50 can be the man sacrifices himself with chivalry, respect, and all that. And the woman is at home cooking, cleaning, you know, taking care of the housely duties. That in itself is 50-50.
Why will men sacrifice their personal happiness for their family, while women will sacrifice their family for their personal happiness?
Ooh, that's a good one. So you can't just like paint a picture of it because it's different for every woman. I would say women are expected to, you know, literally give up everything. So it's okay, I would say, for a woman to choose herself for once, when in history, she's always chose her family first.
I'd say that's just the way that society has etched it out at this point. Feminism has kind of corrupted the whole thought of sacrificing.
Feminism has destroyed a lot of households, mainly a large number of Black households. So when you really look at it in a retrospect, you know, feminism did a lot of damage. Then you have social media. Social media have done a lot of damage as well. When it comes to sacrificing and it comes to your household, both are going to sacrifice. Okay. Both are going to sacrifice. Both are going to pour into each other. Both are going to provide for each other in their household. Everything that man and woman does is geared towards the household. When you have that, everybody win. It's a win-win for everybody. A large number of women haven't figured that part out yet. That's why they're struggling, and that's why the dating market is the way that it is now, because they haven't figured that shit out yet. Let's continue.
For your family, feminists are kind of taking over, and it seems like they're mostly out here for themselves.
If a father of 2 kids sees a random woman attacked in public, should he intervene and protect that random woman?
Ooh, I would say yes.
Well, if men are supposed to be protectors, why shouldn't they protect their own family first? Why should that man risk his life, potentially leaving his own kids without a father?
Ooh, that you got me there. It goes.
Damn right. There's been situations where a man has went out of his way to protect someone that he didn't even know, and in return, that man ended up getting deleted because it was a situation that took place, and we'll just leave it at that. So, when it comes to seeing certain situations and helping out, men are not going to physically jump in when men can just pick up the phone and dial 911 and keep it moving.
Goes back to biblical. I feel like if he stands firm on what he believes in and helps, I think his family will be safe.
Should all men be held to biblical standards when not all men follow the Bible?
My belief, yes, but honestly, you can't be held to a standard that you don't understand or you don't have knowledge about.
So I would say a perfect example of this is like the man who was out with his girlfriend and she got jumped and he was defending his girlfriend and stuff like that. I believe that if you see danger, you should be willing to be the one to step in. Like even me personally, if I saw that, I would be willing to step in and protect.
Same story. How I would step in, I would call the police. That's how I would step in. I'm not going to physically risk my life. Because you have couples that do that, pretending there's a situation going on so that a male can jump in, because 9 times out of 10, a male is going to jump in and they will both turn and jack him. We've seen that. So what men want to do moving forward, let's jump in it and save that person. Call 911, step the fuck back.
Protect those people.
Now, continuing on that point, why should men be sent to war to fight someone else's battle?
Women are sent to war to fight someone else's battle as well.
But aren't men required to register for selective service, but not women?
That is true. Yes, they are. But that's just, again, if you want to go back to traditional roles, I mean, who set that system up? Men did.
They set this system up. Men set up the system to be empowered, to be in dirty positions.
So you set yourself up to be a drag queen. Okay. I'm going to leave it alone. Boy, this bourbon is good.
To separate gender roles, and I think that they should allow the fluidity of everybody entering in every role and every possibility that men think that they have to be part of.
Should men be willing to go to war and die for a country that seems to hate them?
Are we talking about all men or black men?
If men are more valued in society, why would they be the...
Hold up. Hold up. You know damn well he said men. Okay.
first ones sacrificed in war?
Probably because there'd be no chance of winning that war if we sent women to it.
Because they're the ones that set up that value in the society. The only reason that men are quote unquote more valued in society is because they set up that system so that women and anybody that's not a white cis man is valued more. So they should be the first to go to war and be sacrificed.
Why would women appreciate the sacrifices men make when men are required to make those sacrifices to qualify as a man?
I think that it's preached throughout social media that women should just want more and more. And that intrinsically is going to translate into them not appreciating when a man actually does something for them.
I think that men should take the bulk of responsibilities. It is their position in life. They're born into a world that is designed for them to be successful. If anybody has the best chance of being successful, it would be a man.
That's a two-edged sword. That right there is a two-edged sword. When you talk about the bulk of things, if you're talking about a partnership, especially a marriage, the bulk is always split in half. It's divided into two. When the bulk of things are divided into two, it's a win-win for everyone. That's less stress. Everyone doing their part. You see, if you look at it, you say, why are a large number of women struggling? Well, look, when you look at the attitude and the behavior and the, I don't need no man, I can do it by myself. And then the storms come and you were never taught how to weather a storm, you're going to get caught up in the wash. Whereas a man was taught how to weather the storm. A man was taught in the midst of a storm to think logic and come up with a solution and execute that solution, execute that plan, and be logic about it. Versus a woman executing something in her emotions.
So why aren't men the ones placed on a pedestal and entitled to go first instead of women?
Because men are a dime a dozen.
I mean, they could. In this new generation, we got a lot of guys that want to. I wouldn't be interested in one of those men in particular. But again, that's just my personal preference.
What do women provide that justifies a man risking his life?
Well, it used to be feminine energy, the ability to reproduce, and being a homemaker that takes care of everything aside from a man going out and providing and protecting.
Even if women did cook and clean, which they already do for themselves anyway, why would that be a fair trade for the sacrifices that men are expected to make?
Well, again, assuming that like you have traditional gender roles, the cooking and the cleaning, a man has to do that for himself as well. So why would the expectation be that a woman would have to do that in exchange for anything? If I have to go to work and take care of myself and provide for myself, once I get a mate, I don't feel like that role ends. I personally don't like being dependent on anybody for my sole everything. Like, I think there should be a partnership. And if men want the respect, which is what I hear most men say, they want to be the king, I want to be the head, then you should take a bulk of the responsibility.
Half of what she said, I agree with. And we do hear that. If men are saying you want to be the head of the household and so forth, you should take the bulk of the responsibility and the bulk of things. But if you're talking about teamwork and you talking about everyone doing their part, it goes back to what I said. What was more logic? You see, splitting the bulk, splitting responsibilities, everybody wins. There's no stress. But when you have an understanding that only you and your mate have, and that works for you, stick to that. Because I'm going to tell you, when it comes to running a household, when you have teamwork, it always makes the dream work.
If that is how you feel.
Because I think that's what men want. Men want somebody that's going to take care of them in the home. And I think women want somebody that's going to protect and provide for them traditionally.
If you expect the traditional role and you're, out providing, making money, bringing home the bacon, why wouldn't you expect your woman to, be at home taking care of the house? I would say that's a completely fair trade because that's an additional job taken off your shoulders.
But a large number of women don't think that. They think otherwise. When it comes to, I know I've spoken to some couples, and I'm going to start doing some things some reactions where you have couples and they share their stories, they share their testimonies, and they share the everyday responsibilities of their home and how both will go to work, both come home. The wife, she does her wifely duties at home. The husband helps. But that's the understanding, and that's what goes on in their household. That's why they're able to take vacations. That's why they're able to do things. They're able to save money for rainy days because they both pour into their household together. I'm gonna leave a copy of this in the description so you can watch the rest of his videos. It's amazing the different opinions that individuals do have and they share. I always quite find it fascinating when you sit back and you learn and you listen. You know, people are going to have different opinions about a certain things. You're going to hear things from a male's perspective and a woman's perspective. And then you do the math. But I want you to live your best life. I want you to enjoy you. All right? You are the greatest. You are the best. You are awesome. You are talented and creative. Don't let no one tell you different. Continue to live your best life. It's your boy, Big Truck. One love.